Good evening, I'm Patricia Vallone with a CTV News update. America is again in mourning today because of another school shooting. The latest happened at an elementary school in Texas. This is what we know now. The 18-year-old gunman has been identified as Salvador Ramos. Officials say Ramos shot his grandmother before driving to rob elementary school in Uvalde. Once Ramos arrived at the school, he reportedly shot and killed 19 children and 2 adults. In a somber address, the president called for stricter gun laws.
We have to act. And don't tell me we can't have an impact on this carnage. I spent my career as a senator and a vice president working to pass common sense gun laws. We can and won't prevent every tragedy, but we know they work and have positive impact. When we passed the assault weapons ban, mass shootings went down. When the law expired, mass shootings tripled. The idea that an 18-year-old kid can walk into a gun store and buy 2 assault weapons is just wrong. What in God's name do you need an assault weapon for except to kill someone?
The shooter, who used an AR-style rifle during the attack, was killed by police. Meantime, several police departments across the region had an increased presence at local schools today. This was the scene at Hyattsville Elementary School this morning. The increased police presence comes in the wake of yesterday's mass shooting. Police say they were at Hyattsville to help ease anxiety, and parents say they were a welcome sight.
And I don't want my daughter or nothing like that to get hurt, or any of these other kids out here, you know, so I really think it's very, very necessary. There's crazy people out here.
I definitely feel like in a bubble in Hyattsville, and I can't imagine it happening here, but it probably could, and it's scary.
In local news, the hunt is over for a Lexington Park man who made threats to a Charles County elementary school. Sheriffs took Earl Washington into custody this morning. Officials say he made threats of mass violence to Gale Bailey Elementary and also threatened local businesses. The suspect was found and arrested in St. Mary's County without incident. And meantime, in the DMV, an Alexandria high school student is killed in a stabbing that involved dozens of young people in the Virginia city. The 18-year-old senior was stabbed in a fight at the Bradley Shopping Center on King Street, just under a half-mile from both campuses. He was taken to a hospital where he died from his injuries. Well, some good news on the COVID front. Most of the metrics indicate a lowering of numbers. Here's the latest. The Maryland Department of Health has confirmed 1,983 new cases. Positivity rates across the state and in Prince George's are down slightly. Statewide, it's just over 8.5%. In the county, it's more than 11%. 12 Marylanders have died of COVID over the past 24 hours. 492 are hospitalized. Well, as the state continues to fight COVID, one group says Maryland does not have sufficient measures to track infections among certain essential workers. According to Clean Water Action, the state is not collecting and reporting data that would help track migrant food and farm workers. Without that basic information, the group says Maryland could face a labor shortage or potential risk to the food supply, similar to what has happened in the meat industry.
In Maryland, our buckets are so imprecise that we have poultry workers, the meat processing plant workers, they are lumped in with general manufacturing, even though nationwide, the meatpacking industry has been a hotspot. And so that data is so imprecise that we would not be able to track if there are hotspots, if there are outbreaks in that work environment. As for farm workers, they are being included into the category other non-public facing, which again, a very large, imprecise bucket that makes it so we don't know if there are specific interventions we should be doing.
Governor Hogan vetoed a bill in 2021 that required a public health modernization work group to streamline data such as this. The General Assembly overrode the veto, but the group has yet to meet nearly a year later. CTV has contacted the Maryland Department of Health requesting an update on the status of that work group. And you are watching CTV News. I'm Patricia Vallone. Coming up, a conversation with council candidate Jerry Mathis. Stay with us.
I expected it to be a lot easier.
I thought it was going to be a piece of cake. I didn't know what step to take next.
I was transitioning from the military.
I was a vehicle gunner.
An avionics specialist.
I was an MP, military police.
My friends thought I could do anything.
I missed my unit, my family.
Playing with my daughter, I felt like a stranger.
I was overwhelmed.
I couldn't sleep.
I just wanted to be by myself.
I didn't have a clear sense of what to do next.
I was too proud. And then I thought, if I'm going through this, other veterans have gone through it too, right?
I started to open up.
And it made a huge difference.
So I reached out, and I saw that I wasn't alone.
Because before I was able to take on my next mission, I had to take on just taking care of myself.
To find purpose.
We are not alone. Other veterans have transitioned from the military and overcome mental health challenges. Visit maketheconnection.net.
When I was 10, my mom got deported. We had a difficult time, and I feel that's why I didn't get to finish school.
Jessica has been through a lot in her life from early childhood.
My husband is really supportive in a way that he pushed me to go back to school.
She came in looking to complete her diploma. She had a family she had to take care of. Anytime she needed help, we provided her help. She realized that we were here for her.
She wants to have a career so her kids could look up to her.
My graduation, it was something I will never forget. I couldn't explain the emotion I was feeling because people like you and me sometimes may have doubts in ourselves, but I feel that everything's possible.
Jessica's future is brighter than ever.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back. The Prince George's community has raised more than $220,000 for one of its own after a deadly crash this weekend. A Bowie couple, Kyle and Charlene Savage, died in a car crash early Saturday morning while traveling eastbound on Annapolis Road. They leave behind two sons, 14-year-old Nico Savage and his 17-year-old brother Kyle. A friend of the family started a GoFundMe page to help pay for Kyle Savage Jr.'s first year at Hampton University this fall. Members of the community continue to donate and bring flowers to the crash site. Police are still investigating what caused that crash. A special legislative session to pause a Maryland gas tax increase is highly unlikely. House Speaker Adrian Jones and Senate President Bill Ferguson say a pause would not save motorists at the pump. They say the state would actually lose more than $200 million in funding for roads and bridges. A 6-cent per gallon inflation increase takes effect this summer unless state officials take action. Comptroller Peter Franchot says lawmakers should convene a special session to suspend the tax increase. But today, Jones and Ferguson said tax holidays have long-term consequences.
Who wants to go into the fall elections having voted for a historically big gas tax increase that was not necessary because we have a big surplus and we can subsidize this for, well, New York State has got a gas tax holiday through November. We could have one through September. That's what I would advocate. And that would be both the inflationary tax increase we're talking about, but also the underlying gas tax itself.
Ferguson and Jones say oil companies are exploiting global uncertainty to drive up the price of gasoline. They say the inflation adjustment to Maryland's gas tax will have a marginal impact. The 8100 block of Bernard Drive in Fort Washington was the scene of a homicide last night. The location is just southeast of Allentown Road. Police were called to the area just after 9 o'clock. A man was found with multiple gunshot wounds. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Anyone with information is asked to contact Prince George's Police. And in some political news, Jerry Mathis says that he's been quietly working behind the scenes as an activist in Prince George's for years. The District 8 Council candidate has been involved in big issues in the county. He says he assisted in bringing minority contractors to National Harbor and that he helped kill a plan that would have brought a soccer stadium to Prince George's. The former teacher also has a background in the military.
During my 5 years of teaching, I left teaching because of the Iranian crisis in the 80s, and I joined the military. I specifically asked to be with a combat unit because I felt that I was a leader and I needed to lead. So I joined the 82nd Airborne Division. I'm an officer, or was an officer, in the 82nd Airborne Division. And after leaving the 82nd Airborne Division, or the military period, after about 13 years, I ended up with Arlington County during a time where the courts had mandated that they hire more African Americans in the professional ranks. Well, I was instrumental in making sure that that happened.
And for more information on Jerry Mathis's campaign, you can log on to the website on your screen. Still to come, graduation day for Crossland High School. Stay tuned, we'll have more.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far. A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
Thanks for staying with us. Well, funding is secured for a new 5,000-foot underground tunnel for Ellicott City. The $75 million low-interest rate federal loan will be built to help mitigate flooding in the historic town. The project will carry 26,000 gallons of stormwater per second away from streets and foundations and direct its flow into the Patapsco River. The city experienced 3 floods in 2011, 2016, and 2018, 2 of which were deadly. Still no word on whether Governor Hogan plans to sign a bill that would reinstate several outspoken critics of development along the Patuxent River. Riverkeeper Fred Tutman and Barbara Solner-Webb had been longtime members of the Patuxent River Commission until they were ousted by Hogan last year. 3 other members were also dismissed. And last month, the General Assembly unanimously passed a bill that would make the Patuxent Riverkeeper a permanent voting member of the commission. Now, Hogan has until the end of the month to sign or veto the measure. If he does neither, it would become law without his signature. Well, it's time to give another round of applause to the class of 2022. The county school system held a commencement ceremony for the graduates of Crossland High School today. This is the scene outside of Showplace Arena. The seniors greeted their loved ones with hugs and smiles after the ceremony. Friendly High School also hosted a graduation today. Now let's get a quick look at our weather forecast. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a slight chance of showers, lows around 58. Thursday, a slight chance of showers, a high of 72. Friday, more rain likely, highs near 79. And Saturday, again, a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms, highs around 77. That is your CTV News Update. I'm Patricia Vallone. Have a great night.